Is Pixar really getting lazy? Is Toy Story 5 just a lazy attempt to make money? Was Lightyear really that much of a failure that they had to make this movie? So today it's been announced that we're going to be getting Toy Story 5. Is it necessary? Is it not? We're going to get into it in the rest of the channel. But before we go into that, there's also extra news that was given to us. And we're going to be getting Inside Out 2, Frozen 2, and Zootopia 2. But the main priority of this conversation is going to be Toy Story because everyone knows Toy Story more. Now, I'll clarify. I'll give you guys my quick thoughts on the rest. Inside Out, to me, I know it's controversial, or probably not really controversial, but it's my favorite Pixar movie. I love Pixar. I love what Pixar has done. Whether you're talking about Wall-E, Up, the Toy Story franchise, whatever it is. To me, Inside Out has always been the goated movie for Pixar. To me, it's a very emotional, very impactful movie that the older I get, the more and more I love it. And Frozen on the other hand is actually the quite opposite. I remember when Frozen came out, everyone was hyping it up. I remember I was like 13 and like every girl in my age was like fucking fantasizing and simping for the dang songs in the movie, and they loved the movie. And I didn't really like it. I thought it was all right. Now to be fair, I haven't seen that movie in over a decade probably. But I even Frozen 2, I have never seen Frozen 2. I remember when it got announced, I didn't care. When the trailers dropped, I didn't care. When the movie came out, completely forgot. Until this day, I've completely forgot. In fact, every day when I go to my local movie shop, find myself some copies of movies, I always forget that Frozen 2 ever happened. It is probably the most forgettable sequel in my mind because I know Frozen, even though I don't like that movie was talked about for a long time. Frozen 2 is forgettable. And even now, when I heard Frozen 3 was happening, I was kind of like, okay, wait, there was a second one. Like that's all I keep thinking. Like I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. I don't care because the first one just I didn't care. I don't have any fond memories besides I just remember every girl around my age was simping for it. So there was also Zootopia 2, which I'm just gonna say I'm very surprised that it took them this long to get Zootopia 2. When Zootopia initially came out, it was very, very like in the cultural zeitgeist, which is a lot of Disney movies, and I love the first Zootopia. In fact, I'll tell you this right now. If Zootopia had come out in this day and age, it would have been considered woke. Because let's not deny it, Zootopia tackled the conversation of racism in a very well-mannered way. And I honestly think it's a good movie that I think every kid should watch. But I guarantee you, if it had come out now, people would have been like, SJW, woke crap. Like, and actually, you know what? I'm going to guarantee you one thing. Zootopia 2 is going to come out, whether the trailers, the movies, whatever. And I'm going to guarantee you that your geeks and gamers, your Ryan Kindles, your quarterings and erotics, they're all going to be calling the sequel woke, even though the first one, when you actually have the honest conversation, is quote unquote woke. Okay. And even though it tackled racism in a good way, I think every kid should learn about racism because unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people that develop racial things because you're not born racist. That's something that comes in your mind. But anyway, now Toy Story is the main conversation. Toy Story is a franchise I have a lot of nostalgia for. I grew up with the Toy Story movies. The first two I love. The third one I love even more. Uh, it's like this perfect trilogy when you talk about it. It's similar to Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, where you love all the movies and you think they all connect well. The third one came out when I was like 8 years old. I remember that. I still have great memories. It was one of the first movies I saw in my life where I kind of learned how impactful the movie going experience is. I learned that you can learn life lessons. I learned that you can, I just think it was beautiful. And I think a lot of people who grew up around the 90s grew up with Andy, which I thought was cool, which I didn't get to, but I still love these movies nonetheless. Now, Toy Story 4. I'll talk a little more about Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4 I thought was a solid movie. I thought it was a good movie. Is it necessary? I'll always say this. I don't care if a movie's necessary or not. I've never believed movies are necessary. To me, movies are entertainment that you provide for your audience and moviegoers. If you don't like the movie, cool. You still have the other movies. It's how I see Terminator. Terminator Judgment Day and the first Terminator are some of my favorite movies. In fact, Terminator Judgment Day is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. It's one of those cool action films that I can just go back and rewatch constantly every time. No matter how long, no matter when, wherever. I just love Terminator Judgment Day. But with the rest, I hate Rise of the Machines. I hate Genesis, Salvation, and Dark Fate. I won't even get into that, but I remember the first time I watched Dark Fate, I had gone in there nearly empty, like with my mind kind of cleared. It was the first time I had seen a Terminator movie in theaters, and man, the beginning of the movie really pissed me off. Like it set me on. But I didn't hate the movie. I thought the rest of the movie was decent. It just didn't live up to a Terminator film, right? Not a bad film. If it wasn't called Terminator, I would have probably enjoyed the movie even more. But overall, still an art, just besides that first part, I just thought the rest of it was all right. It's not bad, but it's also not this great iconic movie. It was cool to see some returning cast there, but that it's similar how I feel with Toy Story 4. While Toy Story 4, I like the movie, I just don't really have much memories of it. And like to me, it's kind of that movie that came like sometimes when I'm talking about Toy Story, just like I did right now, I call it a trilogy because I keep forgetting the fourth. That's something I notice I have in my mind. I have this mindset where if a movie just didn't live up to the rest of these movies, I just tend to forget about them. Toy Story 4 is not bad. It's a solid movie. I liked Forky. I do think the Key and Peele plushie characters weren't as funny as the movie wanted you to think they were, but they did do one improvement, and that is they improved Bo Peep. I thought they improved Bo Peep heavily. I thought they showed you more layers because in the first two movies she was just kind of the, oh, Woody, I'm the hot girl. You want to bang me once you get done with Buzz. You get to bang me. You get to take off my panties. Like that's basically what Bo Peep was in. I like that they improved her character and there's more layers to it. But I also like that they explore the themes of lost toys or being lost in the world, right? Because like the Toy Story movies, even though the fourth one kind of feels like that forgotten person or that forgotten film that I just don't think much about. When I look back at it, I think it is a movie about lost people. About and every movie tackled different things. The first one was tackling new toys. The second one was tackling toys being seen as more than just toys and seen as like statues and all that. Especially as moviegoers, we love our hot toys. I have one of Captain America right there. The third one was about what happens when your kids get older, and the fourth one was what happens to those lost toys. Because me and you, we can talk about when we were kids, we lost some toys along the way. I remember I had this cool little Godzilla figure when I was like freaking 8 years old, and I lost it. I told this they don't know where I lost it. Or either that or one of my cousins stole it. I don't know, but no, it's like, and I think that's interesting, and that's why I'm fine with the Toy Story 5 happening. I'm fine with it because at the end of the day, Toy Story 4 was a pretty solid movie to me. And want to know what I don't like about this article from Screen Rant? They call Toy Story 4 the perfect ending. Bro, shut up. If you want to talk about perfect ending, that goes to Toy Story 3. Now, one thing I did like that Toy Story 4 tackled with the extra layer and the extra storytelling was the fact that it was kind of a story of like, what is it like after you live the glory days? And this is something that I want to have a conversation with movie fans. Movie fans tend to think that, okay, you need to have this specific story and you can't exit that story. Whether they're talking about the Star Wars movies, the original trilogy, then the prequels, they kind of are their own contained stories and you can't tell more from that. But I actually beg to differ. I believe that there is more story to be told, which is why I'm fine with the MCU going as long as they can, especially as a hardcore Marvel Comics fan. I'm fine that they go longer because I know they have other stories that they can tell. To me, a story can go over the course as long as you make them good. That's the only thing that matters. The issue with Terminator, like I went back with Terminator, is that the rest of the movies just became awful. Genesis, Salvation, Rise of the Machines, they were all horrible. Same thing with the Matrix movies. The first one was a cinematic masterpiece, one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. But the other two, and of course Resurrections came out like a year ago, they just were awful. It wasn't that they kept going on with the story that didn't need to be told. It's because they were just bad. At the end of the day, as long as you don't give us bad movies, we're going to go and enjoy it. It doesn't matter. And to me, what I love that Toy Story 4 tackled is, what do you do after the glory days? I thought it was an interesting story. Now, to be fair, I was in high school at the time, but one thing that I kind of took it from is like, what is it like, having this era of your life and now that's gone? And it reminded me of one of my top 3 favorite Pixar movies, which is Incredibles. What is it like when you leave the glory days? What is it like when you're done, when your job's done? Whether it's you graduate high school, whether you graduate college, whether you have a stable job, whether you have a wife and kids now, like what is it like now after? Now you have to fend for yourself. Now you have to see what is your path. It's like people in the military when they fought a war. Their entire mindset was that war, but now, because the war is over, what is there now? right? And I like that Toy Story 4 tackled that, so now I'm interested in what they can do with Toy Story 5, right? Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. I am a little worried that it just seems like Pixar wants to do sequels. Understandable. I know people are right now going to use the argument of, oh, there's too many sequels, there's too many reboots, there's too many this. Like, wait. It's like, no. If you actually look at the stats, there's actually far more original films now, except you guys just don't want to go see them. Everything Ever All at Once, but a lot of y'all didn't go to see that. Same thing with The Northman. The Menu, Smile. There's a lot of original movies. It's just that you guys don't go to see them. Right? Because at the end of the day, we, the consumers, we tell these big corporations what we want, not based on what we say or based on what we tweet on Twitter. We show them what we want based on what we use our wallets for. And a lot of these, and I always meet these guys here on YouTube. I don't want to say any names, but I meet these guys. And they'll be like, there's no more original movies. And I'll be like, did you see The Northman? No. Did you see Last Night in Soho? No. Then what are you complaining about? There's original movies right now. Megan was just out there. Go watch the movies. If you want original films, go show them with your wallet. Right? But except, you're looking at a niche. And not only that, but you also have to remember that they were creating new stories back then because there weren't that many there weren't that many original films or all that. They had a lot more plethora of stories, and that they were kind of forced to make new stories or make new movies. And now it is, okay, we have all these iconic things. Why not bring it back? Because clearly the audiences are proving otherwise, right? And you can't blame the moviegoers for wanting to go see something they're comfortable with. At the end of the day, going to the movies is an investment of not just money, but of time, right? And the average person works a 9-to-5 job, right? And they want to go make sure that the movie they're watching is a movie they know they're going to like. So instead of complaining about original movies, how about you instead go support these original movies? Tell everyone about them. Right? Don't come crying to me. Don't come crying to everyone. Just go support them with your wallet. Tell your fellow film-going brothers and sisters that you went to go see this movie and why other people should go see it. Me, I do the same here. If I like a movie, I'm going to tell everyone, hey, I like this movie, and I recommend it to you. Right? That's why I'm fine with Toy Story 5 happening. I'm fine with all these movies getting sequels, except Frozen, because I just don't care about Frozen. I feel like that's going to be a new meme on the channel, that Isaac just never cares about Frozen 2. It's the most forgettable movie I've ever thought of in my life. I'm telling you, literally 3 weeks ago, I was at a movie store and I saw a copy of Frozen 2. And I was like, every time I come across Frozen 2, I just forget that ever happened, that ever existed. Not because I saw it and I hated it. No, it's because I just completely it wasn't even in my mind. No process, no thought at all. But no, I'm excited to see what to do with Toy Story 5. Hopefully they do it well. It is obvious. I do think that the one thing that we can say is obvious is clearly the Lightyear attempt didn't work, because I do think if Lightyear had worked, Pixar would have been making a Woody movie, a Lightyear sequel, but instead they're like, hey, you know what? Let's stick to what works, and they're going with Toy Story, right? But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Whatever you guys think, let us know in the comment sections down below. Do you agree, disagree, whatever it is, let us know in the comment section down below. I'll see y'all in the next one.
Where do you go to? Where do you go? Where do you go to? I wanna know. How do you